Today, we're going to break down a pretty chilling story of deception. It's about how a really cunning scammer managed to weaponize the one thing we expect to be safe, the act of care.
And this thought, right here, this gets us straight inside the mind of our subject, Ghazala Din. It tells you everything you need to know about her mindset, a kind of chilling self-awareness, you know? The core of her entire strategy was hiding in plain sight, in a place that's supposed to be built on nothing but trust.
So how in the world did she pull it off? Let's start with Chapter 1, the incredibly careful creation of a brand new identity.
Okay, so this was a brilliant, strategic move on her part. She completely changed her game. She went from the world of flashy, high-speed investment scams in a big city like Birmingham to the quiet anonymity of Southampton. Why? Because this new world, one built on slow, steady trust, was the absolute perfect place for a much more sinister kind of crime.
And she didn't just wing it. Her process was so methodical, it's kind of scary. This wasn't just about changing her name, she literally built a new person from scratch. First up, the new name, Nadia Hussein. Then, she got forged government documents to make it look official. And the final piece, a totally fake history, a CV custom-built for one very specific purpose.
So with this new identity locked and loaded, she slipped right into her target environment, Rosewood Care Home. It wasn't just a place of work for her, it was a sanctuary of trust that she was about to completely violate.
All right, so she's in. Now comes the really critical part. She had to create the perfect illusion, to become the image of an ideal, completely devoted carer.
And what Ghazala was doing? Well, it actually has a name. It's called a caretaker scam. And it's a specific kind of what's known as affinity fraud. It preys on our deepest instincts to trust the people who care for us or our family. It's patient, it's personal, and it is absolutely devastating.
See, her method wasn't about some grand gesture or one big lie. It was built on hundreds of tiny, calculated acts of what looked like compassion, arriving early, learning everyone's name, listening to all the stories, staying late. Every single one of these actions was designed to build trust. It's like she was creating this wall of deception, brick by careful brick, until no one could see the truth behind it.
To everyone there, she was patient.
She was so diligent. Eventually, people started calling her a godsend, and just like that, her illusion was complete. She had them.
And once that total trust was established, well, that's when the real work, the exploitation, could finally begin.
I mean, this phrase says it all, doesn't it? The place that was supposed to be a place of care was no longer a sanctuary. For her, it was now a private hunting ground.
So here's the truly twisted genius of her plan. She turned being helpful into a weapon. Just look at how each of these thefts is perfectly disguised as an act of kindness. Oh, let me manage your letters for you, was her way to see bank statements. I can post those bills for you, was a chance to memorize financial details. She turned care itself into the perfect cover for her crimes.
This really shows you how her criminal mind had evolved. She went from the loud, fast money world of big promises and flashy brochures to something way quieter and, honestly, way more dangerous. This was theft built on patience and the illusion of loyalty. It was a much slower game, sure, but for her, it was so much safer.
But here's the thing about old habits. Even with this new, safer method, something old was starting to stir inside her. So, even though her new life was working perfectly, that old ambition, that hunger for more that drove her back in Birmingham, it was starting to bubble up again. The calm, caring exterior was just a mask for the same old greed.
This quote is incredible because it gives us this rare peek inside her own head. She knows her own impulses and she's actively trying to control them. See, her plan was never to stay forever. It was to steal quietly, piece by piece, until she had enough money to just disappear and start the whole thing over again somewhere else.
Which really brings us to the big question that's hanging over this whole story, right? How long can a deception this massive, this elaborate, actually last?
And who better to answer that question than the scammer herself? Even she knew the truth of her situation. She knew that this world she'd built so carefully, it was temporary, because illusions by their very nature are always destined to break.
And that's what we're left with. This final, really unsettling thought. The story isn't just about one criminal. It's about how vulnerable we all can be.
And it forces you to ask, when the weapon being used against you is trust itself, who is ever truly safe?